There comes a time in every soul's pilgrimage where silence speaks louder than noise, where the heart cries not out of sadness but anticipation. It is then, in the trembling space between who we are and who we are becoming, that God leans in close. He doesn't come with thunder, he does not announce the sacred with a trumpet. Instead, he whispers through moments so subtle you could mistake them for coincidence. But child, nothing about your life is an accident. And surely nothing about love is random. When God decides the hour has come for your heart to recognize its companion, he doesn't bring forth just another body to walk beside you. He brings a mirror for your soul, someone who sees you, not just the clothes you wear or the laughter you share, but the caverns of your spirit, the quiet corners of your being that the world often overlooks. He prepares the meeting in ways only he can, with such divine choreography, only faith can see it for what it is. The first way God introduces you to your soulmate is through stillness. Yes, child, through the quiet. It is in the seasons of waiting that you are being prepared. And more than that, so is the one meant for you. You may think the silence is cruel, that God has forgotten the ache inside you. You may sit alone in your room, your prayers folded in desperation, asking if love will ever know your name. But it is in this solitude that the soil of your soul is being tilled. It is here that your eyes begin to open, not outward but inward. You start to heal. You begin to forgive the ghosts of old chapters. You learn to stand whole in your own presence. That's when love becomes possible, not the kind that fills time, but the kind that fills purpose. You see, God is not in a rush. He is time, and because he loves you, he refuses to send someone who is not yet ready to hold the weight of your destiny. So in the hush of life, when your calendar clears and the friends thin out, he's inviting you to come close, to listen, to become the kind of person your soulmate is praying for. Sometimes God hides them until you stop looking with your eyes and start listening with your spirit. The second way God brings you to your soulmate is through transformation. Not theirs, yours. There comes a time when he will place you in fire, not to burn you, but to refine you. Your heartbreaks, your rejections, the betrayals you never deserved. All of it was not to destroy you, but to shape you. Every tear you cried in the dark was a seed. Every no was protection. Every closed door, a divine redirection. God doesn't just gift love, he sculpts lovers. And so, he allows life to stretch you, pull you, even break you. Because only in those pieces can the true foundation be laid. You will begin to notice that what used to attract you no longer calls you. You'll start to see beyond charm, past appearances, into spirit. Because God knows your soulmate is not someone who just matches your vibe. They align with your mission. They are not just a partner in romance, but in resurrection. Together you are called to build, to heal, to walk in purpose. So God remakes you, not because you are not enough, but because your destiny requires your evolution. And when you begin to shift, when you start to love yourself with grace and honor your own worth with reverence, you create a beacon, a spiritual signal that travels far beyond language or distance. Your soulmate begins to feel it. Even before they know your name, their heart starts beating with questions only you were born to answer. You are becoming magnetic, not to the world, but to the one heaven set apart for you. Transformation isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. And aligned souls always find their way. The third way God introduces you to your soulmate is through divine collision. Not a soft, gentle drift into arms, waiting by a fireplace. No. Sometimes God orchestrates a moment so unexpected, so disruptive, it could only be him. You'll meet them, not always at the mountaintop, but in the midst of your journey. Maybe in a moment when you're not trying to impress anyone, not searching, not performing, just being. You'll be caught off guard. Love often shows up when you're too busy becoming the best version of yourself to notice. There will be a resonance, not always immediate, but unmistakable. It may not be wrapped in fireworks or music swells, but something in you will, something in your soul will recognize what your mind doesn't yet understand. And even if the circumstances aren't perfect, the presence will be undeniable. There will be depth in the conversation, safety in the silence. It's not about butterflies, it's about roots. God will place this person in your life in a way that makes you question every moment you ever settled. Suddenly you'll see why it didn't work with anyone else. You'll see that God's plan was never denial, it was delay. He didn't say no, he said not yet, because timing is sacred. And when the right person meets you at the right time, the love doesn't have to be forced. It flows, it teaches, it builds. This collision may shake your comfort. It may ask you to step out of fear, to open your heart even with trembling hands. But trust that when God writes a story, He finishes it with purpose. This is not a coincidence. This is covenant. You'll know it not because it feels like a fairy tale, but because it anchors you in truth. It calls out the best in you. It brings peace, not confusion. It requires faith, not fantasy. And still, even in the divine, there will be challenges. Not because the love is wrong, but because growth is holy. Your soulmate will not complete you. No human can. But they will complement your becoming. They will challenge you to heal, to rise, to stay when it's easier to run. And you will do the same for them. You'll realize that real love is not built on the absence of flaws, but on the presence of grace. You will choose each other, not once, but every day. And in that choosing, God is glorified. So if you are waiting, don't despair. You are not forgotten. Your prayers have not fallen on deaf ears. Heaven has heard you and is responding in ways you cannot yet see. Sometimes God is protecting what you haven't even prayed for. Sometimes He is shaping a future so much better than your expectations that when it comes, you'll be grateful for the delays. You'll thank Him for the seasons that felt like loneliness but were actually preparation. Hold on to hope, but not just hope in another person. Hope in the God who knows what you need even when you don't. Trust that He who crafted the stars also orchestrates love stories, and His stories are never rushed, never random, never wrong. Maybe today is your stillness. Maybe tomorrow is your transformation. Maybe soon will be your divine collision. But whenever it comes, know this. You are worthy of a love that reflects the divine. A love that heals, not hurts. A love that builds, not breaks. A love that is not born out of desperation, but destiny. So stand tall, walk proud. Love yourself deeply. Pray with expectation. Let your light shine, not to be seen, but to become the lighthouse. Because somewhere, someone is navigating their way toward you too. And when the two of you meet, not just in body, but in soul, it will not be chaos. It will be confirmation, and the heavens will smile. There is something sacred in the waiting, though at times it may feel cruel. But the truth is, God is not just preparing someone for you. He is preserving the bond that your soul has long known, but your eyes have not yet seen. And preservation is a delicate process. It cannot be rushed. Just as fine wine takes years of rest in the dark to reach its full flavor, so too does true love take time to mature. What God is crafting for you is not ordinary. It is not a fleeting attraction or a momentary passion. It is eternal in its essence. It is love that has passed through heaven's fire and come out as gold. You may wonder why it's taking so long, why love feels like a faraway promise instead of a present joy. But what you perceive as a delay is often divine design. You see, God is not simply introducing you to a person. He's aligning you with your destiny. Sometimes that means breaking you open so that the light can get in. It means removing certain people from your life, not because He wants to hurt you, but because He knows they cannot walk with you into the next chapter. The ones who ghosted you, the ones who betrayed your trust, the ones who loved you conditionally. They were lessons, not lost. Each one was a sculptor in the hands of the master artist, chiseling away what could not stay. And as you release what was never meant to last, your spirit begins to recognize the difference between temporary affection and eternal connection. You begin to ask different questions, not, do they want me, but do they nurture my purpose? Not, are they interested in me, but are they sent to build with me? The depth of your questioning is the depth of your growth. It is a sign that you no longer seek love to fill a void, but to expand your capacity. And when you evolve, your standards evolve with you. You no longer chase, you attract, not through force, but through frequency. Your healed heart becomes a lighthouse, guiding the one who is meant for you across oceans of doubt and through storms of insecurity. Do not underestimate the power of spiritual maturity. When God is about to introduce your soulmate, He doesn't just place them before you, He prepares you to receive them. And that means shedding every old version of yourself that settled, that feared, that doubted your own worth. It means releasing the guilt that told you you're too broken to be loved. You are not broken, you are breaking through. There is beauty in your becoming. There is glory in your growth. And the one God has for you will not only see that beauty, they will speak life into it. They will not run from your past. They will sit with it, honor it, and remind you that grace has always had the final word. You will know them not because the world applauds the union, but because your soul will rest in their presence. There will be no need to perform, to pretend, to hide behind walls built by years of hurt. This love will be different, not because it is perfect, but because it is purposed. It will call you to rise, not shrink. It will encourage the dreams you've tucked away. It will honor your scars, not as flaws, but as stories of survival. You will feel known, truly known, not for what you offer, but for who you are. This love will not be born in chaos. It will not demand proof of your value. It will speak peace to your anxious heart and remind you that real love doesn't play games. It makes covenant. And in this covenant, you will not lose yourself. You will find more of yourself. Because God does not pair two halves. He brings together two wholes. Two people who have done the inner work, who have fallen in love with their solitude, and who now choose each other not from need but from calling. And yet, even with divine timing, love requires courage. You will still have to say yes. You will have to open your heart again, even if it has been bruised. You will have to forgive not just others but yourself, for the times you settled, for the times you stayed too long, for the times you forgot your own worth. But let that forgiveness be your liberation. Let it cleanse the lens through which you see love, because your future deserves to be built on truth, not trauma. When that person enters your life, they may not come in the packaging you expected. They may not fit the image your ego once idolized, but your spirit will know. You will feel it in the way they speak life into your silence, in the way they hold your dreams as carefully as their own. It won't be about impressing each other, but about inspiring each other. And together, you will not just build a relationship, you will build a legacy, one conversation at a time, one prayer at a time, one moment of grace at a time. There will be trials. Every sacred bond will be tested. But the difference is, you won't walk through the fire alone. You'll have someone who chooses to stay, who chooses to understand, who chooses to fight not against you, but alongside you. That is love. Love that honors your divinity, love that reflects the heart of God. And so, if you find yourself in a season of solitude, take heart. You are not waiting for a person, you are being prepared for a purpose. Do not envy others' timelines. Do not compare your path to those around you. What God has written for you cannot be erased, cannot be delayed by man, cannot be stolen. And when it arrives, you will realize that every tear, every prayer, every lonely night was not in vain. It was building something. It was creating space in your heart to receive a love that was written in the heavens. Be patient with yourself. Be gentle with your process. Trust the divine rhythm of your life. Sometimes it may feel like nothing is happening, but in the spirit everything is shifting. God is not idle. He is intentional. He is aligning calendars, crossing paths, preparing hearts. And when the moment comes, when two souls that have walked through fire and grace finally stand face to face, the world may not notice, but heaven will know, and your soul will rejoice. You will see the reflection of answered prayers in their eyes. You will feel the echo of every whispered hope in the way they say your name. And you will know, not from logic but from love itself, that this is the one God chose for you. Not because they complete you, but because they call you deeper into healing, into truth, into destiny. And together you will write a new story, not a perfect one, but a holy one, one built on respect, trust, laughter, and unshakable faith, one that stands the test of time, not because it is easy, but because it is rooted in love, in God, in purpose. So take heart, beloved. The author of your life is not done writing. The next chapter may just be the most beautiful one yet. And what a gift it is to wait well, to sit not in despair, but in quiet confidence, to know deep in your soul that you are not behind, not forgotten, not unloved. For everything God does, He does in fullness. In your waiting, He is writing. In your longing, He is aligning. And when the appointed hour arrives, there will be no struggle, no confusion, just clarity, just peace, just a quiet voice inside you saying, "This is what I was preparing you for." You may not even realize how much you've changed until love shows up and you no longer flinch, until kindness meets you and you no longer reject it, until loyalty arrives and you recognize it not with suspicion, but with gratitude. This is how you'll know you're ready. When your soul, once guarded and weary, begins to open again, not because love demands it, but because it invites you gently, because it honors your pace, because it meets you where you are and walks beside you step for step, not ahead or behind, but with you. God knows your heart, even the parts you try to hide. He sees every scar, every secret hope, every private prayer whispered into the dark. And because He knows the full story, the wounds and the wonder. He knows what kind of love you truly need. Not the kind that flatters, but the kind that sees. Not the kind that fills time, but the kind that fulfills purpose. Not the kind that avoids the hard conversations, but the kind that leans into them, because your healing matters, because your wholeness matters, because your soul is worth loving in its entirety. When your soulmate arrives, you will be able to breathe differently, not because they fix you, but because they create space for you to exhale. You'll feel safe not from the absence of challenge, but from the presence of grace. This kind of love will not ask you to be smaller, quieter, easier to manage. It will not fear your strength, your vision, your light. It will celebrate it. It will fan the flames. It will remind you that your fire is not too much. It is the warmth someone's been praying for. And in return, you'll find yourself becoming someone else's answered prayer too. Not because you change who you are, but because you become more of who you were always meant to be. In their presence, you will remember that you are worthy, not because you've earned it, but because love in its truest form is a gift. And when it is divine, it is given freely, without conditions, without scorekeeping, without fear. There is something sacred about two whole people coming together not to complete each other, but to create something larger than themselves. A bond that heals generational wounds, a partnership that echoes into the lives of everyone it touches. When God introduces you to your soulmate, it is never just about you. It is about the impact your union will have, the way your love will inspire others to believe again, to hope again, to choose again. Because real love doesn't just stay behind closed doors, it ripples, it radiates, it restores. You may not recognize the moment right away. Sometimes it starts softly, a conversation that feels a little deeper, a smile that lingers, a presence that brings peace. And sometimes it is bold and unmistakable, like thunder rolling through the chambers of your heart. Either way, it is not about drama. It is about divine resonance. Your spirit will know, even if your mind takes time to catch up. And as you walk forward into this sacred connection, you will see signs, not just external confirmations, but internal awakening. Your old fears will begin to fall away. Your desire to control every outcome will loosen. You will no longer need to chase, to strive, to force, because what is meant for you flows. But even in this divine pairing, growth will be required. Love does not eliminate the need for effort. It sanctifies it. You will still have to show up. You will still have to choose vulnerability over pride, compassion over ego, presence over performance. But this time it won't feel like labor. It will feel like legacy, because love built by God carries weight, yes, but it also carries glory. It carries peace. It carries promise. Sometimes love will look like patience, like waiting for your partner to find their own healing, while holding space without fixing. Sometimes it will look like forgiveness, deep, aching forgiveness that says, you are more than your mistakes. Sometimes it will look like celebration, joy so full it overflows, in laughter, in dancing, in moments that feel like sunlight. But always it will look like choice, the choice to stay, to grow, to love again, even on the days it feels hard. And there will be days it feels hard, because every divine relationship faces resistance, not because it's wrong, but because it's right. The enemy does not attack what is worthless. He comes for what is sacred, but you will overcome together. Not because you're perfect, but because you are united by something deeper than emotion. You are united by a spiritual assignment. And when you anchor your love in faith, in prayer and purpose, no storm can shake what God has joined. So if you are still in the in-between, between the goodbye and the hello, between the heartbreak and the healing, do not despair. This is holy ground. This is the soil in which something eternal is being planted. Tend to it. Nurture your heart. Speak kindly to your own soul. Let God be the gardener. Let him prune what no longer serves you. Let him water the parts of you that have felt dry for too long, and trust that when it is time, he will bring the rain. You do not need to search endlessly to question whether every person you meet is the one. When it is your person, the striving will stop. The questions will settle. The peace will come. And yes, it may take time, but God is not limited by time. He is the author of it. He is not late. He is precise. And the love he is preparing for you is not like the ones that left you empty. It is full. It is deep. It is real. There will be moments, even before you meet, when you sense them in your spirit. When you pray for someone you've never seen. When you feel a tug on your heart that doesn't come from loneliness but from anticipation. That is not fantasy. That is your soul remembering something your mind cannot explain. Because when God created you, he did not create you in isolation. He placed in you a rhythm that matches another, a melody waiting for its harmony, And when you finally hear it, you will know this is not new. This is home. So walk boldly into your future, even if you're walking alone right now. Do not let the silence fool you. Heaven is orchestrating something greater than your imagination. Do not lower your standards in the waiting. Do not shrink your vision to fit temporary affection. Trust that what is coming is worth what you're letting go of, that what is ahead is far greater than what is behind. You are not preparing for love. Love is being prepared for you. And one day, when your paths finally cross, you will look into their eyes and see the road you've walked, the lessons, the loneliness, the nights spent praying. And they will look at you and see the same. And neither of you will wish the journey had been shorter, because you will see how every step shaped you for this moment. You will thank God, not just for the meeting, but for the mold, for the process, for the grace that carried you to each other. This is the love God gives, not rushed, not cheap, not shallow, but anchored, intentional, transformative. A love that does not just make you feel, it makes you grow. A love that pulls you toward your higher self, even when you resist it. A love that reflects the divine because it was designed by the divine. And in that moment, you will realize it was worth every prayer, every tear, every moment you thought you were alone. You were never alone. You were being led. You are still being led. And soon, your heart will recognize its echo, and love will answer back. And when love finally settles at your doorstep, it will not knock with force. It will not arrive cloaked in confusion. It will not demand proof or make you beg for belonging. No, this love will arrive like morning light, soft, certain, warm. It will rise over the edges of your weary places and remind you what peace feels like. It will not call you into frenzy. It will call you into rest, into awareness, into the simple holiness of being known without performance. And in that knowing, your soul will soften, not because you are weak, but because you are safe. For the first time in so long, you will be safe. And safety, when it comes from God, is not the absence of all trouble. It is the presence of divine order, of spiritual protection, of hearts aligned not by coincidence but by covenant. There will be a sacred symmetry to your connection, even if the details don't make sense to the world. And you won't need to convince anyone. You won't even need to convince yourself, because love that is divine is self-evident. It stands tall on its own. It does not bend under scrutiny, nor break under pressure. It thrives in truth, breathes in loyalty, and finds its rhythm in grace. They will see you, not just your gifts, not just your smile, not just the parts of you that shine easily. They will see your shadows and still stay. They will learn your quiet places and sit with you in them. They will love not just your victories, but your process. They will not ask you to rush your healing. They will honor it, because when God prepares someone for you, He prepares them to handle your humanity, not to fix it, not to escape it, but to love it through. And oh, what healing that kind of love brings. Healing that goes deeper than words. Healing that seeps into wounds you forgot were still open. It will feel like grace in human form, like an echo of mercy wrapped in skin. And you'll realize that love, real love, doesn't scream to be heard. It listens, it waits, it learns, and then it stays. Not because it has to, but because it chooses to. Again and again and again. You will be seen, not just looked at. Heard, not just spoken to. Chosen, not just tolerated. And in return, you will give not out of scarcity, but out of overflow. Because when love is right, giving is never draining. It is joy. It is abundance. It is holy. It is generous without keeping score. It holds hands in the valley and dances on the mountain. It prays in silence and sings in celebration. And most of all, it remains through the unexpected, through the change, through the years. Love like this won't always be loud, but it will always be clear. It will communicate even in the quiet. It will speak through presence, through small things, through gentle eyes and tender hands, through the ways they remember what matters to you, through the peace that rests between you when no words are needed. That's how you'll know this is not a love born of performance. It is a love rooted in purpose. And when love is rooted in purpose, storms don't destroy it, they deepen it. Even in conflict, this love will not aim to win arguments, it will aim to protect the bond. Even when tensions rise, there will be something underneath the noise, a commitment to understanding, to returning, to restoring. Because this kind of love does not run at the first sign of difficulty. It does not weaponize vulnerability or punish honesty. It leans in, it listens, it repents, it grows. That growth, oh, it will be the greatest beauty of all. Watching love expand, watching hearts stretch wider, not just to contain one another, but to contain the life God is destined for you both. There will be dreams born out of your union, dreams you didn't even know were waiting, and together you will plant things that will outlive you, a legacy, a lineage, a testimony of what happens when two people choose to walk in alignment with the divine, even when the path wasn't easy. Yes, there will be moments when fear rises, when past wounds whisper loud, when the familiar weight of old heartbreak tries to pull you backward. But this love, this real God-ordained love, will not allow you to drown in the past. It will speak resurrection. It will remind you that your story is not over, that the chapters ahead are worth staying, that healing is not just possible, it is promised, and you will believe again, not because someone convinced you, but because someone loved you in a way that made belief the only response. Their faith in you will reignite your faith in yourself. Their trust will rebuild your courage. Their tenderness will remind you that softness is strength, not weakness. And in their arms you will no longer feel like you have to protect yourself all the time, because you will be protected by something greater, by purpose, by prayer, by presence. The world may not understand this kind of love. It may look too simple, too spiritual, too slow for a generation used to immediacy. But do not let the world's impatience rob you of God's best. Fast love is often fleeting. Loud love is often shallow. But true love, God's love, is deep and quiet and strong. It does not rush. It does not boast. It does not make you question your value. It makes you remember. And when it is yours, it will not be taken. Not by fear, not by confusion, not by distraction. Because what God joins, no man can separate. What God ordains, He sustains. And the love that He breathes into existence does not fade when feelings do. It endures. It is not merely romantic. It is redemptive. So do not settle for imitations. Do not water down your standards to fit into temporary spaces. You were made for covenant, not convenience. You were created for depth, not drama. You carry a love that is generational, eternal, holy, and the one who is meant to walk with you will carry the same. You will not have to beg to be chosen. You will not have to explain your worth. You will not have to dim your brilliance. They will see you, truly see you, and choose you, over and over again, not because they have to, but because they can't imagine a life where they didn't. And as you walk forward, hand in hand with the one God sent, you will look back and understand every delay was divine, every no was a redirection, every lonely night was a preparation, and every prayer, though it felt like it vanished into silence, was caught, held, answered, not always in the way you expected, but in the way that healed you, in the way that made room for the love you were always meant to receive. You will give thanks not just for the love, but for the journey. Because now you see, you were never alone. You were never forgotten. You were simply being led through the refining fire so that you would emerge ready, whole, soft, strong, willing, full of grace, and ready to love without fear. And that is the greatest miracle of all. Not that you found each other, but that you became the people who were ready to find each other. And now you can finally rest, because you are home. And home in the language of the soul is not a place. It is a person, a purpose, a promise fulfilled by a God who writes better stories than you ever dared to dream.